Hey you guys, happy Wednesday. Sorry, I had a little tech connection there. Happy Wednesday, happy September. First, I just want to show you these new pens I got. I got one in pink and white, and they are just making my life that much more wonderful. It's the little things, right? So it's September, first week of September, and I am feeling all of the back to school vibes. And I know this is a time of year, if you have kids, the kids are back in school, and it's a time for a lot of people that is like back into the routine, kind of back into scheduling. And I'm definitely feeling that too. Like this month, I feel really, really called to focus more on the actions I'm taking in my business and my health and really get into a place of focusing on my goals. And also we're coming up upon the last quarter of the year, and I feel very called to make September a really big month of progress, because also we know towards the end of the year when holidays are going on, it gets a little crazy. So if you are with me and you're wanting to make your September a month of a lot of progress and really focus on some things that are important to you and some goals that are important to you, this video is for you. So like I said, I am personally doing that, and I'm really also giving my personal health and my energy levels like the front seat, the front burner right now, as well as my work. And I'm letting some other things, kind of social life and certain things like that just kind of take a little bit more of a back seat. So that gave me the inspiration for today's video. And what I want to talk about today is how to set goals based on your health from a loving health perspective versus any kind of deprivation, or even if you are wanting to feel a little bit more comfortable in your clothes and actually see some physical results and physical changes. I am not anti weight loss. I am not anti wanting to improve physically, get fitter, stronger, feel better. I am definitely not against that. You guys all know I'm super anti-diet because they do not work. They have an over 95% failure rate, and over 40% of people who diet end up gaining more weight back. So what that means is, based on all statistics that we have, the most likely result of a diet is to actually end up weighing more. So definitely not what you want. I do not believe in diets. I do not believe in deprivation. I think it always sets us up for a major backlash. So that is my personal experience and my take on it. But there's like this fine line, or like, well, what does that mean if I want to focus more on my health and I maybe do want to feel better, or I maybe do want to see some physical results? So I'm feeling very called to do that this month of September. And my goal isn't necessarily like how I'm feeling in clothes or anything like that. I just really want to put my health on the front burner for energy purposes. And also I have a lot of big things going on in my business the next couple of months. And I just need all cylinders firing, like all hands on deck. I want to be as sharp, clear, creative, and energetic as possible. So that being said, that has everything to do with our daily habits and how we're taking care of our bodies. So I decided to set a couple health goals, but it's really got me thinking because it's so different from the way I used to set goals. And so first I'll share with you what I'm doing this month, and then kind of dive in and explain this and kind of give you some insight on how you can do this for yourself too. Setting health goals that feel really empowering and feel really exciting for you and actually move the needle for you, versus set you up for a backlash, leave you feeling deprived, cranky, salty, any of that stuff, which again, just sets us up for possibly a food binge or, overdoing it. Anything like that. It just doesn't create long-term sustainable balance, right? When we are depriving ourselves and we're not happy with it. So I set 3 little health goals, and this too, I set goals that are very, very doable for me, that feel like, hell yes, like I can do this, I will do this, I'm excited to do it, it's going to feel really great. But if I didn't actually set these goals up, I probably wouldn't be doing them. So I knew I wanted to focus more on my health. So I thought about it, and I'm like, let me just pick 3 things that are definitely doable. One mistake I see a lot as well with goal setting and with changing things as far as your health habits is people try to go like major extremes. So I always tell clients getting rid of that all or nothing mentality, that black or white mentality, and hanging out in the gray area. So part of that means setting goals that are not like crazy different from what you're doing right now, because that's just too much change at once. And as humans, we can't do that, and we definitely can't stick to it long term. So we want to create sustainable balance. So these goals are not crazy for me. So number one is a little crazy. I'm not drinking this month, except for I have a trip to Asheville with my mom, like a 4-day trip planned. And I definitely, when I'm in Asheville, I hear they have amazing breweries and wineries. So I definitely want to have some of the local drinks and enjoy myself there. But otherwise, like I said, my big focus is my energy. And I know even if I just have a couple drinks, I know that my sleep is not as deep and restorative as when I'm not drinking. It definitely takes a toll on my energy. And like I said, also brain power is my main focus, or my main reason for wanting to do this. And I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I love my drinks. I love my cocktails. You guys know this. I built a brand around it. That's my blog. But I'm like, for this particular month, this particular season in my life, like it's really not serving me. And I don't even really feel like I'm going to miss it very much. I think I would. It would be really hard if I wanted to bulldoze through with that trip as well. But again, this is setting a goal for me. Like when you set goals, it's just you and you. Really, like no one else cares. No one's really looking over our shoulder. So be honest with yourself. And for me, being really honest with myself, and like this month, it would feel really good to focus on my energy, my brain power and clarity first and foremost. And that for me meant not drinking. And I really didn't have much on the calendar as far as social stuff. And it doesn't bother me at all. Other months, it probably would have been different. But just where I'm at right now, that felt really, really good. And I know that's going to move the needle and get me the results I want. So all thumbs up there. You just check with all parts of you. Do I feel deprived at all? Is this going to make me feel cranky? If that's all good and you feel really good about it and excited about it and know it's going to be good for you, then go for it. The other two aren't quite as extreme for me. One is drinking green juice every day, which is kind of something I have been doing anyway. I do green juice with just veggies, no fruit, with the exception of like lemon or lime. I'll put in there too sometimes, not me personally, but getting them. So I have juiced before, but it's a lot of work and it's a lot of cleanup. So respect to anyone who does. Anyway, green juice every day. And this is something that it actually raises your vibration. So all things and people we're all vibrational beings. We're all energy. And you can actually measure that in hertz. And green juice is like the highest vibration thing you can put in your body. Versus something like a lot of meats, or I was just talking about like booze, even coffee. I love it. I'm definitely not giving up my coffee, but that can lower your vibration. So you just want to think about it. And even like people, they say like, oh, really good vibes, or I got bad vibes. That's a real thing. Is there a powder for that? Greens powder. I do have a greens powder that I use that's really good too. And that will lift your vibration because of everything in it. It's just a difference of fresh and like powdered food. So when I'm traveling, I do that sometimes, but if you can get fresh, always go fresh. But otherwise powder, that's a great question. That is like your next best option, and it still is high vibration. So it will lift your vibration. So again, me wanting to feel really like on every day, a lot of energy, goes hand in hand with that. So that's my other one, number 2. And then number 3, I am committing to, this is probably going to be the hardest because of time, but I'm going to try to do yoga 3 days a week. And yoga has never been my favorite workout, but right now because I have so much going on and a lot of big goals, I'm really needing it to kind of balance out and just have that time to like be still, be focused. And, it's really great for your nervous system too. If you do live a lifestyle that's kind of like high stress, high impact, you're doing a lot of things, you're moving a lot. That's also just kind of how I am by nature. I'm an Aries. It's like fiery, go, go, go. And so for me, that stillness and like getting quiet and being still and focused and off my phone is really hard. And I need it right now. Like I know I need that balance. And so, 3 hours a week plus the travel time. I know I could do it at home and that works for some people, but knowing myself, that is almost more challenging than just making the time to go to a class, because then I don't bring my phone in the room, and I just have too many distractions on my own. I say this a lot. I no longer work out on my own, even though I was a personal trainer for over 10 years. Again, that's just knowing myself and being realistic and saying, what kind of accountability do I need to do the kind of workouts that I want to do to feel my best? So that's number 3, doing yoga 3 times a week, mostly like restorative yoga, relaxing yoga, again, just to kind of help with my central nervous system and bring me into some of that stillness and calm that's going to really help me manage everything I have going on right now. So these are very personal and perfect for me, what I need right now. And I spent some time thinking about all these things. And, it's a little bit of a stretch. That's something we use in coaching. We always say to make change, and what a coach provides too, you need support. Obviously, we all know what that is. Stretch and accountability. So accountability as well, we all kind of get what that is. But stretch is like, how can we realistically move you a little bit out of the comfort zone and a little bit out of your norm where it's doable. But again, if you didn't have this goal in place or didn't, set out to follow through with a certain habit, you probably wouldn't be doing it. Like, you wouldn't choose to do it. Like, I would never, in my old habits, I would not end up at yoga 3 times a week. It's unlikely I'd even be there once a week, but I know I need it right now. And same with the drinking. I think if I hadn't really gotten clear and decided like, yeah, it would actually feel great to take a whole month off or most of a month off, plus a few days in the beginning of October, because I am speaking in early October. So I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, just getting really clear on what your goals are. And so for September, I like 3, and I invited my husband and a couple of my closest friends to set these up with me too. And we're in a little Facebook group, keeping each other accountable. But I invited them to set up their own, and they all look totally different. So if you are feeling called to focus on your health more this month as well, and kind of just get back into a routine, get back into healthy habits that are really going to serve you, again, from a loving perspective, not depriving yourself. And, even like to say you're going to cut out all sugar. Like, I would personally think that's a bit too rigid. Like, I definitely look at my sugar and I try to keep it low, but being really extreme again is going to set you up that like, okay, well, what's going to happen October when you start bringing some sugar back in? So instead, the goal might just be to reduce it in certain ways. Like, maybe look at something you're eating every day, eating or drinking, and can you reduce the amount, or can you do away with like a few foods that you're like, I really don't need that, and let me just see how I feel in September if I do away with that. Or setting, even better, is like adding to things instead of taking away something you really enjoy, adding in the good stuff, because when you add in good stuff, or I always say crowd out your plate with the good, then it actually does crowd out, not good food, bad food, but it crowds out anything that's not going to be serving you. So that's a really great way to look at it too, is like, what can I add? What can I commit to adding? So, drinking more water is always a really great basic one to start with. If you feel like you haven't been doing that lately, I would highly suggest that, because you're going to feel so much better. And this can be, it doesn't have to be like just around food or exercise either. It could be taking time for your morning routine. We did a challenge in my Facebook group last week all around creating a joyful morning routine, or taking time to meditate, or, just quiet and stillness, anything like that. That's going to be really good for you day to day. So I want to just invite you to spend some time thinking about that. Think, what are my goals? What would I be so excited about in a month from now? How do I want to feel? What would I be really proud of? And then kind of just work backwards from there. And whether you set one small habit goal, or if you go to 3, like I'm doing, I wouldn't suggest many more than that, because it's just a lot to keep track of and a lot to commit to at once. So also, we'll just talk building on top of this. So say you set out 2 or 3 habit goals for September, and you find yourself in October loving it, and you're like, yeah, I'm good. This stuff works. I'm keeping it. Then you can continue to add on and kind of build on. And it's just your lifestyle. If these things are feeling really good and you decide to keep them in your routine long-term, perfect. Again, that's creating sustainability where it really is your lifestyle and it's something you're choosing to do because you feel really great, instead of, I have to do this thing and oh my gosh, I can't wait for September to be over. If you set a goal that makes you feel like that, then it's not a good goal. It's not creating sustainability. So look at it from that perspective too. Is this something that you're going to feel really good? Not saying every single day you'll be psyched about it, but for the most part, you're going to feel really good and won't be like, oh, when is September over? Like I said, not a great way to set up sustainability. Words are hard today. I feel like I was going to say one more thing on this. Anyway, I hope this is helpful, and building on top, looking at where you want to go. Yeah, see, I need this clarity. Anyway, if you have questions, let me know. And if you're in my private Facebook group for Women's Self-Love Club, feel free to jump in there and also share what you're doing. It's always really helpful to share with others. For one, you might inspire people you love or other people in a community that you're part of. You might inspire them to do some things too. Again, from a really loving perspective. And also that makes follow through so much better when you involve other people. Like I said, I got my husband and a couple other friends involved, and it's just like a fun thing. Ooh, and now it came back to me. So the other thing to have these goals in a really loving place is if you do fall off or, 1 week it doesn't happen, just being really gentle with yourself and like not making it a big thing. Like for instance, for me, if like 1 week I set out to do 3 yoga classes, it ended up just being 1. Cool. I did 1. I'm still putting in the effort. And then you kind of just go back and look at like, all right, what do I need to do to make follow through inevitable? That's a question I always ask my clients in coaching if they're setting up goals like this. Like, how can we make next week, how can we make follow through inevitable where it's definitely going to happen? So that might look like putting it in my calendar. It might look like getting those classes in earlier in the week so that if I do miss one, there's still time on the weekend to make it up. Things like that. So really just thinking ahead and how do you create that support for yourself and make follow through easier the following week if it didn't happen. But again, not beating yourself up. These are just fun little ways to up level your health and your happiness. And it should all come from like a fun, exciting, loving energy and loving perspective, not you need to do this, or I'm a bad person, or I feel bad, or any kind of guilt. That is actually more harmful for you than whatever you're doing or not doing. That guilty feeling is actually toxic in our body and creates a lot of stress and disease and even weight gain sometimes. So definitely no shame, no guilt if things don't happen. But again, it's just a really fun little way to get focused on you and your health and what you want long term and how you want to feel, and get focused on that this month. Hey, Gina, just tuned in. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this is helpful. I'd love to hear your goals. So as always, send me a DM or comment on any of my posts, and I will be back here with you soon. Have a great day.